So since we're on a time crunch and we need to get something posted by Wednesday for your roughs to get feedback, eventually not everything's due till Saturday, but we want to get some roughs going. I want to go over all of your sketches and just give feedback on it. Now, I haven't really looked at any of them. I've kind of glanced through them. So I'm just going to give you raw feedback on everything that I see. I'm not necessarily going to tell you what to do or what direction to go, but I will address potential red flags and potential issues you may occur based on the concepts that you've posted. And if I see something really great, I'm going to tell you. So you're going to get the full range of my feedback. So we'll start with the first PDF, and this is for Arts Granted. Now, when I look at this, and I'm going to say this over and over and over again, the one thing that you want to go for that you have to consider is that visual balance between the name and the icon. Now, we have a logo type right here of the AG, which always will work. At some point, you're going to have to maybe incorporate the name with or without it. You could do it probably either way as a variation. But I look at some of these, like this one here where you have the globe and then Arts Granted. There's an obvious imbalance between the size of that globe and the name. And here's the issue. If this thing is shrunk down pretty small, the name would be lost. The same is true with what you have with the positive negative boxes. It would be very difficult to read it, as well as the skyline. So now if the Arts Granted was tall, for example, in the skyline, it could work. These things with the type going vertical and all that, they don't always work. They're really difficult to pull off. I would abandon that right away, to be honest. Now here with the icon, again, the concept here is good, but I think we need to have a better balance between the name and the icon of that paint palette. Around this also could work. I'd much rather, see it used where the name doesn't wrap around it. You have the icon of the triangle and the name next to it. Obviously here we may have an issue. Again, it's all coming down to the ones that are standing out on this page is this one with the AG, and this one with the AG, and then this one with the Arts Granted here. And then of course this by itself, the way it's doing, we have the italic and then the sans serif. Because of the visual balance that's taking place. I mean, even here with the paintbrushes, if the paintbrushes were stylistic in a way, kind of graphic, that could work. The same with the tree. This has a pretty good balance. I think Arts Granted could be larger. And as I look at the rest of these, these are, I think, a little bit more polished in that there's a little bit more balance in these. Notice that the name is larger on the globe. Here we have it over the globe. All of these work pretty well. This with the key, it's kind of a difficult concept to grasp. I think if it was maybe explored, it could work. Of course, the AG works well with all of these. Again, with the key, I'm not really grasping that one as well. The genie, and of course, we need to play with all of these things to see what works. But again, I'm looking at it as an example. This one here is going to be a hard sell, particularly when you got to shrink it down. What if the logo has to go in a fountain pen, right? How well is it going to hold up? So we've got some good concepts here. I have some preferences, but more than anything, whatever you decide to go with, I would probably, again, concentrate on that size balance relationship between icon and name. I really like this one. I don't know why. There's just something about lowercase serif fonts that are just beautiful. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Okay, this one is, the Domestic Violence Intervention Program. Now, I remember this one with the concept with the ribbon. I think a lot of these are good, but again, number 3 is going to be an issue, because the type is completely lost. Now what you're doing here with the DVIP works a whole lot better. This one, again, we're trying to get way too much in there. This one works better with the hand in the name. This one works really, really well. Again, this is a difficult balance to get. And of course the name is huge, the icon is small. This one works a little better. This one is great. I think the big challenge with this design, this logo design, is you've got 4 big words that are really going to challenge you. And I'm wondering too, if you do a variation logo where you do a DVIP logo, and then like this one, for example, and that stitch, that's just, to be honest, I really love these two more than anything, because I think they say something beyond what all of these say. When I see that eye with what looks to be stitches or a scar, it illustrates the logo well beyond anything else you can come up with the hands or the ribbons or anything else. I think this one for sure needs to be played out. These obviously are these are illustrations right here. There's just, oh, now you could use these as potential imagery and icons and things, but I don't think that the leaves and the tree is something that I think could be incorporated into the brand, but I don't see it as necessarily a logo. This one again, this we need to just drop this idea and this idea. But I love what you're doing with the DVIP and the ribbon. All of those are good ideas. This one could work. I mean, you've got some good concepts here. Again, with the scar, I don't know if it's necessary to box it in or even put the triangle above it. But you've got some good concepts here. And then these with just the DVIP and the single growth coming from the eye, that's really another one that really stands out, because it's off the word intervention, and that's the key to the success of the program. So again, playing off the concept of the eye. Again, I don't know if all of this framing is necessary with the arch and all of that. I think these logos can stand well without all of that dress up, to be honest. But you've got some really great sketches, really good concepts. The floral motifs are really strong. I think that your strongest ones are the scar and these leaf motifs that you have going on. Now, again, these are really, really more illustrative than anything else. But some of these up here that are simpler, I mean, I could really see this logo. I could see a black circle there, and I could see the DVIP reversed. And, you know, maybe not a black circle. It could be any color, right? It could just be a color. But I could see a good weighted logo just that way, as well as the scar concept, which I think is really, really strong. If this was really a bold face, and then you did that scar on the eye, I think that would really work well. So you got some good concepts, really good concepts. I have 2 that I prefer, but you know, it's not my choice, it's yours. Now the Unchained at last. When I went, and I did look at this one a little bit when I was going through and looking at the critique discussions. I like the idea of using the chain, but the thing is, what I'm finding is that the chain graphics are just a bit too literal. I think you could probably express the concept of the loops and the chains without them being so obvious, and I don't know of a better way to express that other than maybe doing something that's a bit more abstract with the chain. Some of these just get kind of, very involved. You know, the chain with the ring inside of it, these get really, really difficult. I think you could do the concept, like when I looked at these, and all of them have a similar look to them, is I think you could do the concept of the chain. Like, to me, the ones that stand out the best are these, where you've got 3 loops and the middle one is broken, right? And then you've got a strong name next to it. These up here with the rings, same thing. These at the bottom. I think that the graphic icons of just a simple, you know, something up close, something kind of abstract in a way, because when I see Unchained at last, and then I see the loops of the chain being broken, I can get the concept without having to look at all of these. I think it can still be illustrated. So I'd much rather see something a bit more simple in its concept, along these lines. I mean, here we've got the hands, you know, the ring concept could work, but I think it also works with just the chain. You could play out the ring concept some more, see how it works. But I think as you develop them more, they got a little bit stronger. You know, this one still is a bit illustrative. And again, I'm going to go back to the main thing is they need to have a strong visual presence at a significantly small size. Now, the graphic here of the child bride and all of this, I don't know if that's going to illustrate the concept. Obviously, this could be an icon for the branding. I can see it with the branding. Again, this one's nice and simple. I think the balance is still a little heavy. I think you can accomplish this without the heavy illustrative quality to it. I think if it could just had a real strong and simple look, like, God, look at that. And if you could somehow, like this concept here, 43, where you could somehow incorporate the chain concept within it, I think there's some real good potential here with some of these. I really do. And I'm glad you went to this level here when you started doing it. You know, all of these concepts here where you're showing more of an abstract of what's going on. Like I could see this and then the name underneath it, right? So I think you have some good concepts here to play with. And I think you really should explore, you know, the abstract smaller links rather than the extensive links you had early on. And these concepts here, I think they're really going to be good for your branding themselves, but I don't know necessarily if they're going to work with the logo. They possibly could. They possibly could. Okay. Rhode Island Environmental Education Association, another one. We've got 5 big words, except for road, but we got 5 words here. So this is one where we're going to have to do the letters. It's really going to be difficult because when I look at these, all of these, although the illustrations are really good, the concepts are good, they're going to be difficult to sell. Like this one here, I mean, once you shrink that down, you won't be able to read any of it. And the same is true with, in fact, it's true with all of them. Now, I could see these being used as, you know, a patch or some type of sign or something that would make perfect sense to do the name around it. But the logo itself, I think you need to stick with these concepts of where you have the wave and the flower. I mean, this is a great icon here that you could sketch out and then, you know, put the name underneath it. And you're probably going to have to use a condensed font to get everything to fit with all the type that you have. Some of these are good too. I love this icon here, and I love, like this one right here, that's such a great logo. And then I could see the name underneath it, you know, or even the state symbol. This symbol here with the wave and the leaf, oh my God, this one right here is probably one of my favorites. I see a lot of potential with it. And this one here as well with the wave and the leaf and the colors. I think, and again, I think this is probably going to be true with everybody. The more you develop these ideas, the tighter they get. And as I go down here, all of these ideas get tighter and tighter and tighter, particularly this one and this one here with just the waves. Now, we got a little bit out of sorts again, where things kind of started getting busy again, right? So we need to be careful in that regard. But you have some really good sketches here. I think there's a lot of potential with a good amount of these. I think some of them are a little busy, and I don't think they're going to work well for a logo design. Always keep in mind, if this thing is only about 1 inch in size, is it going to be legible? I'm not talking about the imagery. I'm talking about the type. And then, of course, these are just like, this is very, very, very illustrative, almost to the point that it becomes an illustration and not a logo. So that's the main thing that we need to push for everybody. Okay, let me keep on going. I got a few more of these to do. Okay, the Animal Relief Foundation, we have some, I love that you're trying to play with a logo type idea. All of these work. Now, obviously, you probably know where I'm going. These will not work. And I know that the concept is worth exploring, But this one here, it's just really, really too hard. And even this one with the illustration, and it's just way too small. So we got to get, again, if you're going to use some type of an abstract icon, like you have some good ones here of the ARF, and the thing which really works with these, once you start to develop these with color and value, is that, and I'll see if I can just do a real quick illustration here to show you just a simple way you can do this. So I'm going to use some really bold letters here, really, really bold, to see if I can pull this off. So I'm going to make these nice and bold, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create outlines for these so they're no longer text, and then I'm going to ungroup them, and then I can start overlaying these, right? So as an example. So let's say, for example, that's a green, and this one is a yellow, and this one is a red. And then when you play with these variations, you could start playing with opacities. And then these things have a tendency where they can overlap on top of each other very, very easily. I'm going to go with the blue here. And then I'll play with the opacity and bring it back. And you can do things like this so that you can get some kind of interest in it. Or, you know, even if you're going to play with them as gray. The good thing, too, about taking these to outline type is that you can actually, since they're vectored, you can do things like this, right? So I could actually bring this A inside of it, maybe bring it to here. So, I mean, there's all these. In fact, I kind of like that idea, but I probably should bring this further back. Let's take these 2 points and move it back, and then take the A in here, right, like that. I could do the same thing with the F. I could grab the 2 points of the F. It'll let me. So, I mean, you can play with these abstract concepts. I think you can have a lot of fun with them. And the thing about this, you could easily get a silhouette of the dog and mix it into all of that. So I think you have some good concepts here. Just remember in the future, you know, when we say to post PDFs, make sure you post PDFs. Not always JPEGs. I think most of the time we're always going to post PDFs, unless it specifically says to post something else. Okay, Pets on Wheels. I remember going through these also when I looked at them on the critiques. What I love about all of these is that you do have a good sense of visual balance between the mark and the name. All of these are all balanced pretty well. Like this one here with the heart and the pet, and then, you know, pets and it's just, they're all done pretty well in that regard. The wheelchair icon, I'm kind of like, I don't know if that's going to work, or if is a car icon the better one to make this work. I think you've got some good concepts here to play with. Some of these are a bit of a stretch, like these right here would be difficult to do. The faces with Pets on Wheels around it, if you pick some good type, obviously could work. You know, the whiskers and the nose all have good ideas on them. This could easily be, and you've got the right idea. I think it's more of a dominant type logo with just a really cute icon that could sell it. I mean, you know, these kind of positive negative space things are really good. You know, this one right here, I think the type could be larger and balance out more along this type of relationship rather than this one. But I think you've got some good concepts here to explore out. More than anything, I like the fact that you've done some good positive negative space with these. That really makes a difference on how a logo is going to present itself. Okay, let's see what these are. Okay, the Polaris. Now, all of these I like in terms of the icon and playing with the whole North Star shape. Fine. I think all of those could work. We just need to find the right icon to really work for you. And then we need to incorporate the name. So, obviously, I'm not going to be a big fan of this. And I love this concept here of doing the P and the P. And I think it's something that I think needs to be explored. I think it has a lot of potential. The heart behind the North Star also has some potential. Obviously, these are getting a bit illustrative. There's just a lot going on with that one. This one as well, even all of these with the stars and the love balloons or whatever, that these are really getting kind of heavy. Now, this is a good one. The North Star over the eye, the dot on the eye could really be a good concept. This one has a lot of potential with the right type choice. That's one of those that it's a very simple idea, but it's one of those logos that could work if the type was right and the icon was right. So, I've got my favorite, but there are others here that have a lot of potential. I like the way that if we could find a way to make this work for you, the P within the P. But the main thing, again, like all of these, with yours, we need to find a good icon to work from that's bold and strong where you could balance the name off of it. And don't be afraid to go simple with these logos. There's nothing wrong with going simple. I mean, if we got the North Star here, Polaris Project, boom. There's nothing wrong because there's a certain beauty in an artistry in taking a simple design and making it look good. And that's where it comes down to playing with the typefaces and the icons to get them to work for you. Okay, let's see what else we have. Food forward. Again, this looks to be a good type-heavy design. And we've got some food icons that are working, or those look like wheels. Sorry about that. The FF, the orange slice or the fruit slice. I think we've got some good imagery here that's balanced out. Again, you know that I'm not going to be a fan of this kind of stuff because it's just so hard to do. Here with the hands, that could be a good graphic image. The smile. This one's kind of cutesy. I might stay away from that. The banana, again, kind of a cutesy idea. Depends upon, the seriousness of the organization if you can get away with that. Another one good here with the hand, holding the peach. It looks like a peach, food forward. What I like about all of these is you have struck a good balance between the icons that you're using and the name. And in that respect, I think these could work. Like I'm looking at some of these, like this one, for example. If you don't get too illustrative with these fruit slices and do something more graphic rather than realistic, I think you have a lot of potential here with these. Or you could take it to the point where, you do the food forward, and you kind of did it here already, where one icon, just the one O, is a tomato. That in itself speaks volumes. And these are the types of logos that, there's not too much to take in. It's like you look at it and go, oh, food forward, I've got a tomato here. When you try to do too much and you got too much going on, with all of these slices here, it can get a bit involved. And you want to keep them simple. Simple, simple, beautiful. Okay, and the last one, what I have here is a text. I don't have any... So someone, I guess Catherine explained what she wanted to do, but we don't have any sketches to go by. So I'm just going to pass on this for now. Hopefully she'll get something posted soon, or we'll have some good roughs for us to look at. So expect this kind of feedback for the most part. I wanted to really do it for Monday because I know you guys are going to start working on some roughs to get posted in the discussion for feedback so you can get a good final logo by the end of the week.